Okay, let's jump in. We're doing a really unique deep dive today.
Yeah, this one's a little different.
We're dedicating this whole session to one listener, Lindsey, because you're at such a critical point in your AP Art and Design portfolio.
Right. You're working on your sustained investigation, SI4, and you're grappling with what's next, that visual evolution.
We have your guiding inquiry, which is fantastic, by the way. How can traditional roots shape an individual?
It's a great question. And your current work with the mask and the face. The concept is solid. You're there.
But now the mission totally shifts. It's all about the execution. So our goal today is simple. We're going to use your critique feedback and the AP docs to figure out the specific intentional moves you can make to get that skillful synthesis.
The kind that gets you into that highest scoring band. So first things first, let's talk about that critique.
Yeah.
Remember, critique isn't a rebuke.
Yeah.
It's a tool. It's just meant to help you see your own work more objectively.
Like how an evaluator would see it. And this feedback you got is gold. It's not generic at all. It's a recipe.
It really is.
Let's start with the conceptual stuff. The critique noted your idea comes through well, which is a great start.
Yeah, and it even gave you a lens to play with, suggesting you could see the work as being about separating from tradition, not just being shaped by it.
Yeah.
Little twist.
That's a powerful idea. But the real meat here, the action items, are all visual.
Exactly. These are the things you need to intentionally test in your next piece.
Okay, let's list them out because this is your checklist. First, a suggestion to add cultural patterns to both the mask and the face.
Right, not just one side.
Which makes sense because it connects the idea across the whole piece.
Yeah.
It stops the face side from feeling, I don't know, visually empty.
Then there was color. They were very specific here.
Very. Use strong, warm, bold hues.
That's a pretty clear signal, isn't it? It means your current color palette is probably too restrained. It's not matching the intensity of your idea.
I love that note. And speaking of impact, the critique also suggested you exaggerate scale in your next piece.
Ah, classic.
It's a classic move, right? If you want this feeling of being shaped to feel powerful or maybe even overwhelming, then making the piece physically bigger is a direct way to do that.
It absolutely is. But wait, let's pause here because this is a potential trap.
Okay.
Lindsey, if you try to do bold color and exaggerate scale and add more texture all at once, you risk chaos, not evolution.
That is the big challenge. You can't do it all in one go. You have to pick one variable to really push in your next experiment.
Right. But let's get at that last point, texture.
The critique said the smooth finish was appealing, but
more texture on both sides would convey the complexity better, maybe the struggle of it all.
And finally, a really smart compositional note.
The dividing line.
The dividing line. It's the core of the piece.
Ah.
The suggestion was to create a specific connection point, maybe at the mouth or the mind.
So it's not just a clean break. It shows how those roots might still cling to you or influence you.
So you've got these amazing specific suggestions. The tool you need to use to act on them is formal analysis.
For anyone who hasn't used it, it's basically the scientific method for art. You step back and you look at the ingredients: line, shape, color, texture.
And you ask how they're delivering your message. Not what the subject is, but how the visuals are working or not working.
You have to analyze how your current choices, like a muted color scheme, are creating a certain emotion, and then revise those specific things based on the critique.
Okay, so we have the feedback, we have the tool. This all feeds into the one thing the graders are laser focused on: synthesis.
That is the metric. The sustained investigation is 60% of your score, and it's all about showing inquiry through practice, experimentation, and revision.
Synthesis isn't just making cool-looking stuff. It's proving you've blended your idea, your materials, and your process into one seamless thing.
And that thing keeps exploring your guiding question.
So to get there, Lindsey, you have to get into this cycle. Make, reflect, revise.
And the experimentation has to be intentional. If the critique says bold color, then your next piece is a color experiment. If it says scale, you go big. That's the one variable you're testing.
But that's scary, isn't it? Taking a risk means you might fail, especially with a deadline looming.
It is.
Are evaluators really looking for pieces that failed? Or are they looking for the learning from the failure?
That is such a crucial distinction. They're absolutely not looking to grade a failed piece.
Okay.
They're looking for evidence of change, of growth. The worst thing you can submit is a series of pieces that all look basically the same.
They want to see the pivots, the moments you tried something, it didn't work, and so you tried something else.
Exactly. The risk-taking is what leads to discovery. So those experiments could be smaller studies, just little tests of texture.
Or even digital mock-ups to test color combinations before you commit to the physical piece.
Perfect. And you could even try a divergent form, maybe a 2D drawing that just explores that compositional split you're working on.
But it would still have to connect back to the main 3D investigation.
Absolutely. Everything has to be connected. It all has to serve that central inquiry.
Which brings us to the practical side of this. Documentation.
Yes. You have to show your work, literally. In your 15 images, some of them must be process documentation.
Sketches, models, diagrams, and they're not filler images.
Not at all. They have to give real insight into your thinking and your making. If you decided on bold color, show us the color studies that got you there.
And you have to be so careful with the sequencing of those 15 images.
Yes, you're telling a story.
A story of visual growth. It should show the progression from SI4 through these new experiments to the revised, stronger work.
And finally, we have to talk about the rules, the non-negotiable stuff, the artistic integrity agreement.
This is huge, especially for your topic. You're dealing with traditional roots and masks. You might be looking at existing cultural work for inspiration.
And if you use a photo of, say, a traditional African mask as a reference, you must give full credit.
No question. But it goes beyond just giving credit, doesn't it?
It does. Your final work has to be more than just a copy. It needs to show an observable transformation.
A fresh perspective. You can't just recreate a mask you saw. You have to make it your own, make it speak to your idea about the individual.
And you cite it. In that little 100-character space for the image citation, you write, inspiration, African mask, and the source. Transparency is everything.
Okay, and now for the big one in today's world.
Oh, yeah. AI.
Generative AI.
The AP program could not be clearer on this.
Yeah.
Absolutely no use of tools like Midjourney, DALL-E, or even the generative fill in Photoshop.
At any stage of the process.
At any stage, full stop. If you're using digital tools, it should only be to make your photo a clear, accurate representation of your physical artwork. That's it.
So, Lindsey, let's bring this all together. Your next steps are not about making more pieces that look like SI4.
No, they're about targeted, intentional revision.
You have to let that critique push you. Take the risks. Focus on making color, scale, and texture work harder to tell your story.
If you push those elements strategically, the emotional impact of your concept is just going to explode.
And the key to making sure it all comes together as synthesis is to constantly reflect. With every new piece, ask yourself, how does this push my investigation forward?
How does this help answer my guiding question? That reflection is what has to drive the making.
That's the work. You can do this. And here's one final thought to leave you with as you get started on that next experiment. We've talked a lot about formal analysis, the technical stuff, but the sources also mention comparative analysis.
Right, comparing one work against another.
Exactly. So as you create these new revised pieces, try physically putting your initial work, SI4, right next to your latest one.
And just look at them together.
Yeah, and ask yourself, what does that comparison reveal? Does the visual language in the new piece, does it challenge your original question now? Or does it support it in a way you never expected?
That's a great question to mull over.
It is. It's something to think about as you get started.